Dr. Emma Taylor adjusted her glasses, her heart pounding with a mixture of trepidation and excitement. Today was the culmination of years of research, a deep dive into the uncharted waters of the human psyche. Her gaze swept across the bank of monitors, each displaying a live feed from the isolation pods within the facility. 5 volunteers, each with a unique psychological profile, were about to embark on a journey into the abyss of solitude. The isolation experiment aimed to explore the effects of prolonged sensory deprivation on the human mind, pushing the boundaries of psychological understanding. The facility, buried deep beneath the earth, was a testament to scientific ambition and chilling sterility. It was a place where silence reigned supreme, broken only by the hum of machinery and the occasional crackle of static from the monitors. Dr. Taylor, a pioneer in her field, had handpicked the participants, ensuring a diverse range of personalities and psychological resilience. The success of the experiment hinged on their ability to withstand the mental strain of isolation, to confront the darkest recesses of their minds. As the countdown timer ticked away the final seconds, Dr. Taylor felt a knot of anxiety tighten in her stomach. She knew the risks involved, the potential for psychological damage, but the pursuit of knowledge often came at a price. The clock struck 0, and the isolation pods sealed shut, plunging the participants into a world devoid of light and sound. A wave of unease washed over Dr. Taylor as she realized there was no turning back. The experiment had begun. There was John, a stoic ex-military pilot, his mind hardened by years of discipline and danger. Then there was Maya, a vibrant artist, her soul brimming with creativity and imagination. David, a brilliant but introverted mathematician, sought solace in the world of numbers and logic. Emily, a compassionate nurse, possessed an unwavering empathy that drew others to her. And finally there was Sarah, a writer known for her dark and introspective novels, her mind a labyrinth of words and emotions. Each participant carried their own baggage, their own demons lurking beneath the surface. John battled the ghosts of war, haunted by memories he couldn't escape. Maya struggled with the overwhelming intensity of her emotions, her artistic brilliance often bordering on madness. David, scarred by a childhood of social isolation, found comfort in the predictability of equations. Emily, burdened by the weight of others' suffering, sought solace in helping others. And Sarah, haunted by a past she couldn't outrun, poured her pain and fear into her writing. The selection process had been rigorous, involving countless hours of interviews, psychological evaluations, and simulations. Dr. Taylor had meticulously chosen individuals who she believed possessed the mental fortitude to withstand the experiment's challenges. But as the days turned into nights and the silence of isolation pressed in on them, she couldn't shake off a growing sense of unease. The human mind was a fragile thing, and even the strongest could crumble under pressure. The underground facility was a marvel of modern engineering, a subterranean labyrinth of sterile corridors and windowless rooms. The isolation pods, 5 in total, were arranged in a circle, each one a self-contained unit designed to eliminate all external stimuli. Thick, soundproof walls blocked out any noise from the outside world, while a sophisticated ventilation system ensured a constant supply of fresh air. The pods themselves were Spartan but functional, containing only a bed, a toilet, and a small table and chair. The temperature was kept at a constant 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and the only light came from a dim, adjustable bulb on the ceiling. Cameras and microphones were strategically placed throughout the pods, allowing the research team to monitor the participants' every move and utterance. Dr. Taylor and her team worked tirelessly in the control room, their eyes glued to the monitors that displayed the live feeds from the pods. The atmosphere was tense, the silence broken only by the hum of computers and the occasional whispered conversation. Every flicker of movement, every sigh or murmur from the participants was scrutinized and analyzed, searching for any signs of psychological distress. Days turned into weeks, and the isolation began to take its toll. At first, the changes were subtle. A shift in sleep patterns, a loss of appetite, an increase in irritability. But as time wore on, the effects became more pronounced. The participants grew withdrawn and lethargic, their movements sluggish and their speech slurred. Strange occurrences began to plague the facility. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation, lights flickered erratically, unexplained noises echoed through the ventilation system. At first, Dr. Taylor dismissed these incidents as technical glitches, the inevitable hiccups of a complex experiment, but as the strange events escalated, she couldn't shake off a growing sense of dread.
I hear whispers in the dead of night, faint voices calling my name.
The shadows, they're moving in the corners of my pod. Their forms are shifting and swirling before my eyes.
I'm seeing patterns in the random static of the air vent. My mind is desperately searching for meaning in the chaos.
The participants, too, reported unsettling experiences. The human mind was a fragile thing, and even the strongest could crumble under pressure. Sarah, the writer, experienced the most terrifying transformation of all.
My imagination, once a source of creativity and escape, has turned against me.
She saw shadowy figures lurking in the corners of her pod, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent.
They whisper my name, taunting me with cryptic messages and threats.
Her once lucid thoughts became fragmented, disjointed, as if her mind were unraveling at the seams.
I spend hours staring at the blank wall of my pod, my eyes wide with terror, my body trembling uncontrollably.
She scratched frantically at the walls, desperate to escape the horrors that plagued her mind, her nails leaving bloody streaks on the cold, hard surface.
I can't take it anymore. I need to get out of here.
The research team watched in horror as Sarah's mental state deteriorated rapidly.
Please, someone help me.
Her descent into madness was both fascinating and terrifying, a stark reminder of the fragility of the human psyche.
Why won't they stop? Why won't they leave me alone?
Dr. Taylor, torn between her scientific curiosity and her concern for Sarah's well-being, found herself at a crossroads.
Dr. Taylor, please, I can't do this anymore.
She had crossed a line, pushing the boundaries of ethical research too far.
End this, please, I can't take it.
The guilt gnawed at her conscience, but she couldn't bring herself to terminate the experiment, not when they were on the verge of groundbreaking discoveries.
Please, Dr. Taylor, end this nightmare.
Section 6. Echoes in the Mind. In the control room, Dr. Taylor observed the participants' brain activity with growing alarm. The EEG readings displayed a chaotic symphony of spikes and dips, indicating extreme levels of stress and psychological disturbance. The patterns were unlike anything she had ever witnessed before, as if the participants' minds were being bombarded by an unseen force. One particular anomaly caught her attention: a strange rhythmic pulse that appeared in all 5 participants' brainwaves simultaneously. It was a subtle signal, easily missed amidst the chaos, but it was undeniably there, like a faint echo reverberating through their minds. Dr. Taylor had no explanation for it, but she couldn't shake off the feeling that it was somehow significant, a clue to the unraveling mystery within the isolation pods. She delved deeper into the data, analyzing hours of brainwave recordings, searching for any other signs of the strange pulse. She consulted with colleagues, experts in neurology and psychology, but no one had ever encountered anything like it before. The anomaly defied explanation, challenging everything she thought she knew about the human brain.
Get me out of here. I can't take it anymore.
Please, someone help. I can't.
If I just solve this, there has to be a way out in the numbers.
Please, Dr. Taylor, please, let me out. I can't do this anymore.
Panic began to spread through the isolation pods like a virus. The participants, once rational individuals, now teetered on the brink of madness. John, the ex-pilot, thrashed violently against the walls of his pod, his face contorted in a silent scream. Maya, the artist, curled up in a ball on the floor, her body racked with sobs, her mind lost in a world of shadows and nightmares. David, the mathematician, frantically scribbled equations on the walls of his pod, his eyes darting back and forth as if searching for an escape route in the numbers. Emily, the nurse, pleaded for release, her voice hoarse from crying, her once unwavering compassion replaced by raw terror. The research team, their faces pale with horror, watched helplessly as the participants spiraled further into chaos. The isolation experiment, once a beacon of scientific progress, had become a descent into a nightmare. Dr. Taylor, her heart pounding in her chest, felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. The situation was spiraling out of control, and she knew she had to act quickly. She had to terminate the experiment to get the participants out of the pods before their minds were irreparably damaged. But as she reached for the intercom, ready to issue the order, a blood-curdling scream echoed from one of the monitors.
No, get away from me.
It was Sarah. On the monitor, her face was contorted in an expression of pure terror, her eyes wide with fear, her mouth open in a silent scream. She clawed at the walls of her pod, her fingernails ripped and bleeding, her voice a raw, guttural rasp. Then, with a suddenness that made Dr. Taylor jump, Sarah went silent. The frantic scratching stopped. Her body slumped against the wall, her head lolling at an unnatural angle. Dr. Taylor watched in horror as a single word appeared on the wall of Sarah's pod, scrawled in what looked like blood. It was a simple word, but it sent a chill down her spine, a word that spoke of an ancient evil, a presence that had haunted humanity since the dawn of time. The word was beware. A cold dread washed over Dr. Taylor as she realized the true nature of the force she had unleashed. It was not a scientific anomaly, not a psychological phenomenon. It was something far older, far darker, something that whispered from the abyss, something that had been awakened by their experiment. The experiment was immediately terminated. The remaining participants rushed to the infirmary for medical and psychological evaluation. But the damage was done. The isolation had unlocked something within them, something dark and terrifying. They were haunted by nightmares, plagued by hallucinations, their minds teetering on the precipice of madness. Dr. Taylor, her career in ruins, her conscience burdened by guilt and remorse, became obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the malevolent force she had unleashed. She pored over ancient texts, consulted with paranormal experts, desperate for answers. But the more she learned, the more she realized the true extent of her folly. She had opened a door that could never be closed, unleashed an evil that would forever haunt the corridors of the facility. The isolation experiment had been a catastrophic failure, a testament to the hubris of humanity, a stark reminder that there are some things mankind was not meant to know. And as for the presence that whispered from the abyss, it remained, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next opportunity to claim a soul. The question wasn't whether it was real, but what it would do next. The isolation experiment was over, but the terror had only just begun.